Welcome back to another episode of This is the Main Character, and this is Timmie. Let's talk to Timmie. But before we talk to Timmie, we take aim, and we shoot. Hey, chicken. So important. Alrighty. Also something else that I kind of forgot to do in the last episode. No, I don't want to get in this window here. I want to go into the character window, just in case. Not the weapons, this stuff. So, we have this setup and this setup, and there's no way for me to do anything else here, is there? No. The other thing I could do is... Oh, no, I actually need the adventure set. At least the first effect of it. The reason is I need the bonus 1000 health. That is pretty useful. So, if I could turn these into... yeah. I can just switch it with a slightly better version of it. Still good. Thing is, I try to use the color swirling around it to kind of distinguish the sets themselves, but it's just the rarity component. There's nothing to do with it. And also, using the scroll wheel is not the best way to scroll up and down, because this game is kind of like... Not kind of, but it is made with... handheld in mind, or basically phones in mind. You can click and drag, and this feature is actually quite nice because you don't have to find the where was it, the scroll bar on the side and try to move it down. You can just click on the thing that you try to drag. That's pretty sweet. This is something nice. Alright, even if, like, the scroll would have been a better thing. Anyway, let's talk to Timmie. What are you doing? You're scaring the pigeons away. Well, I did, and I also shot one. There's not much... There's not much I can do about it now. Yeah, but they'll come back, probably. They do come back usually, but what happens if one day they leave and never come back again? Just like, oh, that's like Daddy. Oh, Jesus. Like this game, right? This game, oh goodness. Like you can just go around in the world and just hit monsters, collect items and anything, but I have to say that the interactions with these characters, right, is top notch. It's right in the feels, right? There's not much I can do about it now. Not much you can do? Yeah, right. Mummy says that as long as you love the world, no animals will be scared of you. Or otherwise, why do you think the pigeons aren't scared of me? Wow. That's neat. This is why he has this nice temper. Because he wants his daddy back. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Ah! Bollock. Scared it off. The cider lake? Why is it called cider lake? Because you can make apple cider in it. Actually, people do... Wait. This is for decorational purposes. Same here. Do it up. Wait. What do you mean by eating things? Was he talking about eating things, or what was the itabio stuff? Because I know my Japanese. At least a little bit of it. And this game also gives me a nice way of learning it as well. Oh, why is he called Sage? Is he the future Hokage? Rosemary and Parsley. Either older sisters? Good question. Let's talk to Sage. Hey, yeah. Hey there, kiddo. Say, have you heard of the Dandelion Sea? The Dandelion Sea, you say? What? Do I know? No, I don't know about it. There's this book I read. It says that somewhere in Mondstadt there is a big sea of dandelions. It even has little talking foxes in it. Little talking foxes. Interesting. Yep, I want to know what talking to animals is like. But I've only seen a guy in green gloves and white socks talk to animals before. Happened to bump into him. Okay, wait a minute. Green gloves, white socks. Good. I told Mom how awesome he was, but that guy said that I was mistaken. Okay. But no, you're actually not mistaken. This dude really talks to animals. Like the part about this green cloth character, right, is that he doesn't just wear green clothing. No, the white socks give it away. So, let's talk to Rosemary. Hey, we can't go on like this. This Dandelion Sea, there's no way to find it, is there? It's a fairy tale, a fantasy, but should I tell him or shouldn't I? That may be so, but humans can never leave their fantasies aside. Only if we dream can we have hope, and with hope comes opportunity. Surely, you haven't forgotten that snowy day in Snesnaya. Ah, because everybody gets a cold. When you were my boar princess and I was your wolf pup. Oh, Parsley, just as we once dreamed to ascend to Celestia, no, even now, indeed, even for another moment, let's allow our little sage to enjoy the fantasies of his youth. Aww. Okay. So I can talk to Rosemary and I can talk to Parsley? Or are they like a bundled text system? We can't go on like this. This Dandelion Sea, there's no way to find it, is there? Humans, hope, Snesnaya. Okay, good. Got it. So, doesn't matter who you talk to, you always get... Yeah, you always get the same response. Because of the way the dialogue is set up. It's also kind of like, I'm talking to one character there, and the other one was chiming in. So it's... Yeah, I just focused on the text and not on the name, so sometimes it's kind of feels as if I read the same person, but it's not. I have to maybe do something with the voices, so there's a way to distinguish it at least, right? Okay. Let's go with the deep voice and the high voice, like a standard one, right? Or maybe I should get kind of like an idea of their characters first. Yeah, 5 voices, maybe. And all of them in a high pitch and low pitch version. So I can have different kind of personalities being depicted. So... wait a minute. So I went left side around Mondstadt and I'm now going up the cliff. Is there a way to get into the city from here? Actually don't want to, because it might mess things up when it comes to the experience of entering the city. So sometimes you enter a certain environment and a cutscene plays. But if I do this in reverse, then it kind of makes no sense. So I have to actually go back again, right? And this going back is something that I don't quite like. I just go on forward and forward and forward and forward and forward. But backtracking is something that I don't quite like. This is why I like those markers there, for example. The markers on the minimap. So I don't need to backtrack and look again and again and again for no benefit. But I actually know what I need to do. And can come back and do it immediately. And I said that I wanted to go into Mondstadt, and what happens? I'm going all around Mondstadt. Anywhere but. Ah, there's a chest. Sweet. Ah, there we have another way in. So, if the city will ever be attacked by, assassins, then they should definitely secure this passage here. Like, they could just climb upwards with enough stamina. And get a boat up here. Like, this is actually a quite nice place. Look at this. It almost has an Assassin's Creed kind of vibe. Hmm. Whoa. I have to say, I really... Aww. The bell's even ringing. That's great. I really have to say that I like how they make those cathedrals all the time. Could be that it is just a copy of a real one, which actually I don't care that much about. But it's nice to see the real version every now and then. Like, you're looking through videos, or sometimes you go on vacation or whatnot. You come across some of those buildings and you're like, wait a minute, I've seen this somewhere. Oh yeah, it was in Dark Souls somewhere, like this and this and this place. But this time, it is Genshin Impact. Really like that. And also we should definitely have much more buildings that look like that. Some kind of awe-imposing designs there. Like most of those buildings today, at least, are just standard rectangular buildings. Like there's nothing interesting about them except that they are very, very space efficient, but they don't look good. It's just always the same thing. Like actually, it doesn't really matter if you have like one kind of rectangular building next to another kind of rectangular building. You can just fuse them together and make a huge block. That would be the best thing to do. And then kind of connect them with a kind of rooftop rail system. That would be most efficient, because people, if you think about it, are kind of trapped when they live in the higher floor areas. Like they have to go down all the time. That means you have to use the elevator, which is nothing more than using the car at some point. It's just a few hundred meters actually, or like sometimes even less. Many more times actually, being less than 100 meters, but it still is a distance. Like the travel in the future will not be like side to side, or at least the amount of travel will not be focused on side to side, like car travel, right? But more a up and down travel from the floor of the building to the top of the building. Hey, this is the thing. Like you can investigate stuff, but you don't know if you can investigate it. You just have to brute force it somehow. There's our little boat. Anyway, moving side. This is how you know you can investigate stuff, because it's blinking. Okay. The more you know. There we go. Seems to be the only way to get those cabbage and radishes, which are more whitish looking than reddish. Huh. Hey. Is there a way to dive with the character? Oh no. Oh, that was close. Like this. I think that the stamina system should be kind of at least a little bit changed, so that you don't drown immediately if you are just in the water. There should be, I don't know, like a way to at least go forward, but really, really, really slowly. But dying is not a nice option. But again, it is used as a kind of a wall in-game to get you to move somewhere specific. So you don't just use the sea to skip content and whatnot. Alright, now Arthur. Usually the sword is stuck in a stone. Yeah, if you pull it out, I'm gonna hit you with it. this is what's gonna happen. And if not, then it's just stuck in here. But the place is even like, but for real, like pulling a sword out of just the earth itself is really hard because it's just stuck. It doesn't really need to be in a stone. Maybe a stone is a better place to put a sword in, because once you push everything aside with a sword, then the stone will not have any forces acting on the sword, so it's just sheath. But if you put it on the earth can move a bit, right? And then it's physically attached to it. Like, just try to pull a pole out of the earth, right? Like a fence pole, for example. You have to pull really, really hard. And now imagine doing this with a sword. Now then, what are you doing that for? I don't need your help. Doing what for? What is that you're doing anyway? He's probably trying to pull the sword out. I'm trying to pull the sword out. Don't you get any ideas? I find it fast. Well, I have swords, a mass. If only I could pull it out then. Okay, so I don't know what would actually happen, but I'd definitely be something big. Look at the rust, the angle of entry into the ground. It's perfect. It's got to be a lost sword from some legend or other, I'm sure of it. Armed with the sword, I'd probably be allowed to go on adventures with Mommy and Daddy, and I could join the Adventures Guild. Well, the best way would actually be for him to go on adventures even without the sword, because then he can train to be an adventurer from a much younger age, right? Then he would be accustomed to it, and then he wouldn't have that hard of a time getting used to it when he's older. This is also why I would say that working itself, on jobs or whatever, should not be, should actually be possible for everybody who just wants to work, and not just for people like above the age of 18 or something. But the conditions of the work itself should be much safer and nicer. So yeah, in general, less working hours and less hard stuff to do, right? Just share the load between an awful lot of people, and you will have a much better working environment. And yeah, and just let people do their thing. This is the most important stuff. Because most of the time you just try to lock them into a method of working that is not really beneficial. You try to use them like machines, right? You say them what they have to do, and they have to do it within a certain amount of time, otherwise they get fired. Not cool. You can use machines to do stuff like that. And you can treat machines the way machines are supposed to be treated. But humans? Nah. Humans can hit you in the face. But this should be the last thing to do. Anyway, let's talk to Ulfr. At the Ulfr. Grant, what do you want? Are you here to jeer and ridicule me too? I don't know why. I haven't said anything yet. Well, to be honest, we haven't said anything at all yet. At least the character hasn't. Well, what is it then? I highly doubt you're here to help me build my boat. There are a lot of boats right there. The nice thing is I can move the camera about in the dialogue screen. That's pretty sweet. Anyway, whatever it is, I'm not in the mood for it now. You're building a boat? Ooh, yes, just a little one. So me and Miss Flora can go boating on the lake. A little bit of motorboating, right? I thought that with Miss Flora being so light and dainty, no boat would be fit for her unless... Wait, what? So light and dainty, no boat would be fit for her unless I got rid of the keel, which is heavy and unwieldy. I also figured I'd build the hull from her favorite thing in the world, Dandelion. What? You want to see the boat? Yep. My first attempt is on the lake bed over there. And the second one is on the lake bed right here. I cannot see the lake bed, you know? Or at least I can't see that deep into the lake. Alright, so they sunk. I just don't understand why they won't float. Yeah, buoyancy and stuff. You have to displace a certain amount of fluid. Could be either water or air. That is more in weight. Like the amount of water you have to displace has to be equal or more, usually more, than the weight of the object that you want to have float in the stuff that you displace, right? So let's say you have a boat that weighs 100 kilos. So you have to displace 100 kilos of water somehow by designing the boat in a certain way so it can displace that much water. And then it will float. Easy peasy. So, now good luck to you. One day I will confess my love to Flora on board a Dandelion boat. It's such a shame that my last few attempts have all sunk on their maiden voyages. But every cloud has a silver lining. My swimming ability has improved greatly as a result. Last time I even had several crabs grab onto my eyelids, but I still managed to swing back to shore, even though I can see. Oh, that hurts so much. Oh, and several more ended up in my pockets too. Here, you can have them. Now I have a boat to build. I said something about pockets. What did we get? Oh, crabs! Again, we got crabs. That's why talking to people. This is how dangerous they are. What do you want? Are you here to jeer and ridicule me too? Dude, you don't seem to have any memory. I'll leave you to it. But there's nothing else I can choose there. That's just, ooh, a boat. What? Yeah, the idea of buoyancy is actually pretty interesting because it can also be used not just for, well, it can be used for anything that you try to have balanced at a certain height, let's say. Like, you want to have boats balanced on the water, so you have to displace the water. You want to have airships balanced in the air, so you have to displace the air. You want to have buildings be safe on the ground, so you have to displace the ground. And this is also why huge churches, cathedrals and whatnot are actually built in mind that the upper portion has to weigh the same amount as the lower portion, that is that is put into the earth in order to stabilize the whole building. Kind of an interesting design. I don't even know anything about buoyancy or whatever, but they just thought, okay, yeah, it has to be balanced. It just seems like a natural and fitting idea, right? Like, same amount of weight has to be up, then down, right? Or above the ground, then lower the ground. Pretty easy. Wait a minute, is this the field of the Dandelions he was talking about? No, it's just a Dandelion Field. Alright, okay, so the Dandelions seem to be salt-proof. And the only way to actually get the seeds from them is by breathing. Well, not really breathing, more like using extreme amounts of magic. Alright, now we are here again, and we were actually moving like just 1 or 2 meters towards this town here. Now we can actually enter the town. That's great. But this we will do in the next episode. Oh, like with tiny, tiny baby steps. This is what we do here. But tiny, tiny baby steps all around the city. This is what we do. Until then, like and subscribe. Ta-ta!